Anxiety is a natural response to danger that can feel like nervousness, worry, or unease. It can cause physical symptoms like sweating, rapid breathing, and increased body temperature. Anxiety can become a mental health problem when it's severe and long-lasting. Having feelings of anxiety is a normal part of life, but people with anxiety disorders experience frequent and excessive anxiety, fear, terror, and panic in everyday situations. These feelings are unhealthy if they affect your quality of life and prevent you from functioning normally. These feelings of anxiety and panic can interfere with daily activities and can be difficult to control. They are out of proportion to the actual danger and can cause you to avoid places or situations. While most people with anxiety disorders seek support within counselling, talking therapies, psychotherapy, or even medications to help get anxiety under control, lifestyle changes and coping strategies can also make a big difference. As I'm sure we know, fear is one of the most powerful emotions we have. It has a strong effect on our minds and our body. It's a human response that is vital for our survival. It helps us respond to emergencies or dangerous situations. For example, if there's a fire or we're being attacked. It can also occur in more everyday, non-life threatening events like exams, public speaking, a job interview, a date, or even a party. It's a natural reaction to events that put you under pressure. Anxiety is a word we use for fears about the threat of something going wrong in the future rather than right now. Anxiety can last for a short time and then pass. Whatever is causing you worry is over, but it can also last much longer and disrupt your life. Ongoing anxiety can affect your ability to eat, sleep, or concentrate. It can prevent you from enjoying life, travelling, or even leaving the house to go to work or school. When anxiety holds you back from doing the things you want to do or need to do, it can also affect your health. Some people become overwhelmed by fear and want to avoid situations that might make them frightened or anxious, and it can be really hard to break this cycle, but there are lots of ways to do it. You can learn to feel less fearful and to cope with anxiety so that it doesn't stop you from living. What makes you afraid? Lots of things make us afraid. Being afraid of some things like fires can keep you safe. What you're afraid of and how you act when you're afraid of something can be different for every person. Knowing what makes you afraid and why can be the first step to overcoming anxiety. Because anxiety is a type of fear, the things we've spoken about fear previously are also true for anxiety. The word anxiety tends to be used to describe worry or when fear persists over time, often without any one cause. Anxiety is when fear is about something in the future or something that might happen, rather than what's happening now. Anxiety is a word often used by health professionals when they're describing persistent fear. The ways that you feel when you're frightened and anxious are very similar, as the basic emotions is the same. What does fear and anxiety actually feel like? Well, when you feel frightened or seriously anxious, your body and mind work very quickly. Here's some of the things that might happen. So your heartbeat very fast, may feel irregular. You breathe very fast, your muscles feel weak, you sweat a lot, your stomach churns or your bowels feel loose. You find it hard to concentrate on anything. You feel dizzy, you can feel frozen to the spot. You can't eat, you have hot and cold sweats, you get a dry mouth, you get very tense muscles. These things occur because your body is sensing fear, and this is preparing you for an emergency. It makes your blood flow to the muscles, increase blood sugar, and gives you the mental ability to focus on the thing that your body perceives as a threat. With anxiety in the long term, you may have some of the symptoms as we previously discussed, as well as more nagging sense of fear. You may get irritable, have trouble sleeping, develop headaches, or have trouble getting on with work and planning for your future. You might have problems having sex or being intimate with your loved ones, and you might even lose self-confidence. Why do I feel like this when I'm not in any real danger? You ask yourself. Early humans needed the fast, powerful responses that fear caused, as they were often in situations of physical danger. However, we no longer face the same threats in modern day living. And despite this, our minds and bodies still work in the same way as our early ancestors, and we have the same reactions to our modern worries about paying the bills, work, social interactions. But we can't run away from or physically attack these problems. The physical feelings of fear can be scary within themselves, especially if you are experiencing them and don't know why, or if they seem out of proportion to the situation. Instead of alerting you to a danger and preparing you to respond to it, your fear and anxiety can kick in for any perceived threat, which could be imaginary or minor. This can cause more problems than whatever triggered the reaction in the first place. And sometimes you might ask yourself, why won't my fear go away and leave me feeling normal again? Well, fear may be a one-off feeling when you're faced with something unfamiliar, but it can also be an everyday, long-lasting problem, even if you can't put your finger on it and why. Some people feel a constant sense of anxiety all the time without any particular trigger. There are also plenty of triggers for fear in everyday life, and you can't always work out exactly why you're frightened or how likely you're going to be harmed. Even if you can know how out of proportion a fear is, the emotional part of your brain keeps sending danger signals to your body, and sometimes you need mental and physical ways of tackling fear and anxiety. What is a panic attack? A panic attack is when you feel overwhelmed by the physical and mental feelings of fear. People who have panic attacks say they find it hard to breathe. They may worry that they're having a heart attack or going to lose control of their body. If you experience symptoms like these, you should speak to any professionals, either your GP or mental health agencies, or even therapists local to yourself, and just to ensure that there are no underlying causes for yourself. Which again, we can have phobias. A phobia is an extreme fear of a particular animal, thing, place or situation. People with phobias have an overwhelming need to avoid any contact with a specific cause of their anxiety or fear. And thought of coming into contact with the cause of the phobia can make you feel anxious and also panicky. So how do you know if you need help? Fear and anxiety is something that we all experience now and then. It is only when it's a severe and long-lasting it can become a mental health issue. If you feel anxious all the time for several weeks, if it feels like your fears or phobias are taking over your life, or if you experience panic attacks, it's a good idea to seek out your doctor or GP for some support or help and guidance. And sometimes we have to learn to help ourselves. So you're asking yourself that question, how can I help myself? Well, as I say to some of my clients within my private work, it's learning to face your fear if you can. If you always avoided situations that scare you, it might stop you from doing the things you want or need to do, making you miss out on life. This means you won't be able to test whether the situation is as bad as you expect. So you also miss the chance to work out how to manage your fears and reduce your anxiety. Anxiety problems tend to increase if you get into this pattern. Exposing yourself to your fears can be an effective way of overcoming this anxiety. You can also try setting yourself small, achievable goals for facing your fears. Know yourself. Try to learn about your fear and anxiety. Keep an anxiety diary to note down how you're feeling, what causes you to feel anxious, and what happens. When you understand how anxiety affects you, you'll be better able to manage the feelings. You could carry with you a list of things that help you at times when you are likely to become frightened or anxious. This can be an effective way of addressing the underlying beliefs that are behind your anxiety. You can even talk to a trusted friend or family member. And it is, just remember, it's very common to feel silly or even ashamed of fears or anxieties. This can lead us to hide what's actually truly going on from those who are close to us. But there's really no need to. There's no need for us to feel this way, and you don't have to overcome your anxieties alone. If you have a friend or a family member you feel confident within speaking to in a supportive way, it can often feel a better option to open up what's going on. The act of talking about something can help reduce your anxiety levels and encourage you to get more support, if and when needed. Small parts of this in regards to anxiety which can help is exercise. So try to increase the amount of physical activities that you do. So exercise can require some concentration, and this can take your mind off some of your fears and anxiety. And remember, activity doesn't need to have to be vigorous. Gentle stretches, seated exercises, and even walking are all good for you. Also as well, relaxing. Learning relaxation techniques can help you with the mental and physical feelings of fear. It can help you just drop your shoulders and breathe deeply, or even imagine yourself in a relaxing pace. You could also try complementary therapies or exercises such as massage, tai chi, yoga, mindfulness techniques, or even meditation. We can start on to the basics with the 4-7-8 breathing techniques. So you learn to close your mouth and quietly breathe through your nose. Count into 4 in your head, hold your breath and count into 7. Breathe out through your mouth, making your whoosh sound while counting to 8. And repeat 3 more times for a total of 4 breath cycles. As we know, our eating habits, eating a lot of fruit and vegetables, and try to avoid eating too much sugar. As a result, dips in your bloods and can give you anxious feelings. Try to avoid drinking too much tea and coffee, as caffeine can also increase anxiety levels. Avoid alcohol or learn to drink in moderation. And it's very common for people to drink when they feel nervous. Some people call alcohol Dutch courage, but it's not good for you, as I'm sure you know, and the after effects of alcohol can make you feel even more afraid and anxious. You can look into your faith or spiritualism. If you are religious or spiritual, this can give you a way of feeling connected to something bigger than yourself. Faith can provide a way of coping with everyday stress, and attending places of worship and other faith groups can help connect you with a valuable support network. So how can you get yourself some help, you ask? So first of all, talking therapies. Anything like counselling or CBT can be very effective with anxiety problems. In the UK, in England, you can also refer yourself to the NHS talking therapies. In Scotland, you can access Living Life Service, and in Wales, you can access the Silver Cloud. Also as well, medication. Drug treatments are used to provide short-term help rather than looking at the root of the anxiety problems. Drug may also be most useful when they're combined with other treatments of support. You can also look for local support groups. You can learn a lot about managing anxiety from others, and as well as the people who have lived and experienced it within those groups. Local support groups or self-help groups bring people together with similar experiences so they can hear each other's stories, share tips and encourage each other to try out new ways of managing their feelings of anxiety. You can speak to your doctor, library, local citizen advice bureau as well in the UK. We have details of support groups near yourself. If you can, keep physically active. Learn to develop a routine so that you are physically active most days of the week. Exercise is a real powerful stress reducer. It can also improve your mood and help you stay healthy. And also remember, start out slowly and gradually increase the amount of intensity of your activities. If you can avoid alcohol and recreational drugs, these substances can cause or worsen anxiety. If you can't quit on your own, have a look for local agencies or drug and alcohol services where you can find a support group to help relate to that as well. Using stress management and relaxation techniques, so visualization techniques, meditation and yoga are examples of relaxation techniques that can ease anxiety. Also as well, making your sleep a priority. Do what you can to make sure you're getting enough sleep to feel rested. If you aren't sleeping well, talk with your therapist or your GP just to see if there's any support around that, so you can start, pulling your sleeping pattern back in place, because that's what we definitely need, is making our sleep priority. Again, as I mentioned earlier, eating healthy food, so a healthy diet that incorporates vegetables, fruits, whole grains, fish may be linked to reduce anxiety. And also as well, learning about your disorder or what you're going through with stress or anxiety, and speak to your GP, speak to your therapist, and find out what may be causing your specific condition and what treatments might be best for you. Involve your family and friends as well, and ask for their support. Most of the important ones as well, is quite hard, is when you learn to maintain this, so stick to your treatment plan. So if you're on certain medications, take your medications as directed. Keep therapy appointments and complete any assessments that your therapist gives. Consistency can make a real big difference, especially when it comes to taking your medication. Obviously, becoming aware of identifying your triggers as well. Learn what situations or actions cause you to stress or increase your anxiety. Practice the strategies you develop with your mental health support worker or your therapist, so you're ready to deal with those anxious feelings in those situations. What I guide my clients to do as well is learning to keep a journal. So keeping a track of your personal life can help you and your mental health worker or therapist identify what's causing you stress and what seems to help you feel better as well. And also as well, socialise. Don't let worries isolate you from loved ones or activities. One of the hardest things is learning to come out of your comfort zone. And sometimes when we pull ourselves out of our comfort zone, we go into the learning zone, and that is where we find our answers. And most importantly, we start growing our resilience and confidence around anxiety. Your worries may not go away on their own, and they may worsen over time if you don't seek help. So speak to your GP, healthcare provider, mental health provider. Also have a look online for local or online counsellors who might be able to work with you and have that working background with anxiety before your anxiety gets worsened. It's easier to treat early if you get help. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to get in touch with myself. My name is Garen and I'm from GarenGreenTherapies.com. If you like any information or any other self-help tools, you can have a look on my website. You take care.